Alright gang, welcome back to our triple threat challenge here on Zabby. It is July still. We are still continuing our process here of harvesting all the fields that are ready to harvest. The worker is working on this field right here, and we are getting the straw up. And yeah, we're going to continue on here getting all of this done. So we've got to get this field done today, and then realistically the field in the far distance that you can't really see at all also needs to be done today. I would ideally like to plow this field up over here as well. I actually caught... at least part of it. I wasn't able to finish it yet, but Crust2's recent video on the Triple Threat Challenge, he has taken on this challenge for me as well. And he split this big field up into a couple different pieces, which it's not a bad idea. You know, the equipment we're utilizing is pretty small, and that field itself does take us quite a long time to get done, right? So... not a bad idea. I'm not sure if we'll do that or not, but it's something to think about, I guess, as we move along. It really, I guess, depends on how much money we end up making here. You know, for the remainder of the year here, really. I probably won't split it up until the following year, if I do split it up at all. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to right now, but, you know, things change. Who knows? Looks like the worker might be full. I think I saw it pop up in the left-hand corner, but at that moment I was not actually looking there, but I think I saw it just out of the or the peripheral, right? Let's jump into the John Deere here, and we'll head down there and get the worker unloaded so they can continue on. How's everyone doing today? I hope you're all doing well. Things are good, man. Things are good. So this episode is likely out on Saturday, even though I told you we probably were going to have a one-tile challenge. Yeah, so the issues continue, unfortunately. Scheduling of things are just becoming very difficult for us to be able to accomplish. You know, Rusty was supposed to be perfectly fine to do it, and then he was not, so... we have to go another week without the competitive one-tile challenge, but we're hoping this weekend, with it being a holiday weekend, that we'll find some time to get 1-2 of them done, maybe even 3 if we're lucky. I don't know. We will see. What I can tell you is that, and I've mentioned this briefly, and I know I mentioned it in tomorrow's episode, because tomorrow's episode is already done, but Crust2 and I have been kind of talking together a little bit about, you know, doing a mono-e-mono, just a competitive multiplayer type of series. Nothing set in stone yet. Not sure when it will be released, but what we're kind of thinking is whenever we start to run into more issues like this, and it kind of seems like this is going to be happening for a little while, just because it is a very, very busy time for Rusty, and then whenever he does have time, a lot of the times either Crust2 or I can't make it work because it's not a normal time when we would do it. So during that time, though, we've kind of been thinking about maybe just running a mono-e-mono series, and essentially it would literally just be a competitive multiplayer where we start with the same amount of equipment, the same amount of land, you know, on a map, same amount of money, and we just go. Not really any rules or restrictions other than obviously nothing super unrealistic, so not putting 15 windmills down or something like that, right? Just, you know. But we're thinking about doing that, and that would continue on, but basically we would, you know, run that series, and that series would be out for you to watch whenever we're not able to get a competitive one-tile challenge done. Now, granted, there's not that many episodes left in that series, but, you know, it's been a couple of weeks now without an episode, and we just don't know exactly when we'll be able to get things done with Rusty's schedule right now. So, because of all that, and because of all those reasons, Crust2 and I have been thinking about starting that, and then we'll have something that can replace that series whenever we don't have it, and then once that series is over, when I say that series, once the competitive one-tile challenge series is over, Crust2 and I would just kind of continue on that mono-e-mono series between the two of us. I do know that recently, not recently, soon, I guess I should say, Crust2's going to have knee surgery, which is awful, but it'll give him a little bit more time to do some more videos, so I think we'll be able to accomplish that series, you know, when he's down and out with his knee surgery, right? He's not going to really be able to move a whole lot of places, at least not very easily, so So anyway, we're gonna go. We're gonna see what happens, but that's kind of the plan right now. We're kind of working out what map we're gonna do, and you know what equipment and everything we're gonna start with. I gave him a couple of options. He gave me one option. I looked at those options specifically. We're going to just kind of have a little bit more of a discussion around it, and then we'll make a decision on that. Maybe we'll have a first episode here in the next couple of weeks. Who knows? But yeah, it's on the docket for us to kind of get sorted. And get prepared to do as we move along. So yeah, that's kind of what's coming. That's why you're seeing this episode right now. Is we once again just did not have the ability to get a video done. It's unfortunate, a bit frustrating, I'm sure, for a lot of you that really ever enjoyed that series. But as I've mentioned many times before, life gets in the way, man. It just gets in the way, and right now that's the case. Right now, not all three of us, none of us can do this full time. Although I'm sure we all would tell you we would love to be able to do so. We can't, right? We've got real life things that happen. We've got work in real life that pays the bills. So this is a fun thing for us to do, but we're certainly not able to live off of it. So kind of have to, prioritize those things, unfortunately, over this. Although I would love to prioritize this, of course, right? I think anybody would, right? Nobody really wants to work, but we kind of have to work. The worker is going down the middle of the field for some reason. I don't know. Weird. Okay, whatever. They stopped where I had set them to get started on, and they decided they're going to go down the middle. All right, whatever. At least they're not going down the middle when, they're full. In other words, when the harvester is full, right? Because then that would cause us all kinds of issues. All right, so did we get any new contracts out here? Well, I guess there's some wrapping contracts. Harvesting contracts that aren't really anything special. Spraying, so not really. I'm not seeing a whole lot of new stuff, but maybe we'll get some more stuff as we move along here. And he's already nearly full. Ooh, maybe he's not going to get to the end. Please get to the end. Please do not get stuck up there and I have to kill some crop to get to you. Please don't. Or I have to just take it over and then kill crop that way. A couple of you mentioned that I need to make sure. I think it was actually realistically in the Z-Lanka Can You Survive 25 series, but the same case should be said here because I did not do it. In the field we bought, the furthest field away from us, one really, really far away, that we have to harvest still today. I need to be going in and turning off the tram lines. It wasn't even something that was on my radar that I completely forgot that I should and can be going in there and turning off tram lines, even if the worker has the tram lines on there. Yeah, so I need to focus on doing that. Worker's going to be full any minute here. It is going to be a slow process here, utilizing this as I mentioned before, and as you saw before. It works perfectly fine, but realistically, we'd be a little bit happier if we had a bigger tractor pulling that baler. It's just a little too slow going up the hills. It's a little too difficult, too heavy for the tractor to pull it. So it goes a little bit slower than we would, ideally like. That doesn't mean we don't necessarily, or we can't necessarily upgrade that tractor. We can certainly do that by another one that has a little bit more horsepower. We can certainly do that, but we don't really have the money for that right now, right? We've got $27,000, decent amount of money. Don't get me wrong, it's a decent amount of money, but if we sold that one plus this, would we get something that has bigger horsepower? Maybe a little bit, but would it make a significant difference? Probably not. Probably not. We can definitely check that, but I mean, we're struggling a little bit just based off the the strength of some of the stuff we have, right? The horsepower and the hills and everything. We're struggling a little bit based off of that, but it's not really anything that we can't manage, so I'm not too concerned about that right now. Yes, it takes longer to get things done. Yes, it's a little bit of a nuisance, but it still works, right? And for me personally, I think I'd prefer to wait until we get something maybe in the used market that is a significant upgrade versus just doing a minor upgrade. Now, I understand that I'd have to, you know, fix that tractor up or whatever it is, and obviously, you know, it's going to wear down faster. I get that, but from a quick win situation, because eventually we probably will upgrade that again to something else, right? I think that's the better approach. You know, you've got this one, which it's not terrible. We used the smaller version of this. I misspoke in the last episode. We used the smaller version of this in our competitive one-tile challenge. It's the tractor we started with, the one the guys are cursing me for making them start with. But I don't know. I don't know. The more I used it in the competitive one-tile challenge, the more I didn't really love it. So I don't know. I think not. I think not for that one. Although that, you know, that realistically could be a pretty big upgrade for the John Deere, right? That could be an upgrade for the John Deere. Maybe we should think about doing that for the John Deere. I don't love that tractor. I love the little John Deere we have. I know a lot of people thought it was a dumb choice for me to buy that, but I love that John Deere. Honestly, that John Deere or the Ford that we kind of started with on the Island Preservation series that we're doing at the very beginning. We no longer have it, but at the very beginning. One of those two are probably, if I was to have a tractor, those are probably the two that I would actually, you know, aim for getting. I don't really need anything bigger than that, or I wouldn't need anything bigger than that. Even if I was, you know, so there's a series on my channel that actually has real life events that occurred. It's loosely based on it. It's not 100%, but I would say it's a good 65-70% of that series is real. You know, if I had a tractor that size for what I called the family farm, then yeah, it probably would make sense. But, you know, I don't think I would need it for anything more than... If I had a bigger land than that, then I probably would just need something smaller, right? Our family farm, it had a decent amount of land, but it wasn't, you know, a big, massive, you know, substantial amount of cropland. I should put it that way. It was 2 large fields. That's really what it was, and then a lot with a pond and a pretty large wooded forest behind. I don't know exactly how many acres it was. I really don't know. I don't remember how many acres it was. I probably should know that, but... And I knew it at one point, but I don't know anymore. We are getting a lot of bales off these 2 fields. A lot of bales. I'm going to kill that crop if I go up that. I think I'm going to go down this path here. I'm just going to have to move the trailer out of the way. How big is this field behind us? I don't think I've ever looked at that. Yep. I don't know. It's probably pretty expensive. These fields are all pretty expensive on this map. Other maps, same size fields would be significantly cheaper, but this one's pretty expensive. So I would assume that is the case there. It's a pretty big field. Yeah, 61,000. We don't have anywhere near 61,000, so that is a no-go. I was just looking to see, you know, other ones that are ready to harvest, like, you know, if there's anything that we can potentially purchase, but, you know, I'm not necessarily saying we probably need to do that right now. As a matter of fact, I know we probably don't need to do that right now. Because we've already got plenty to do here in just July. Now, to be fair, we don't have to get all these fields plowed up and prepped and ready to go this month either, right? And the odds are we're probably not going to be able to. We might be able to get one field done, but we're probably not going to be able to get all of them done. You know, it's taken us a long time to get this done, so... And we're having to utilize a worker to help us, right? So... So the worker's going to be full any minute here, and when they're full, you know, I'm going to have to back up the harvester from them anyway. So I'm just going to take over for a minute. Take a break there on doing the baling for just a second here. We'll finish this portion up here, and then we'll unload and then put it back on a worker. was also watching his recent video on the Triple Threat Challenge, and he was talking about, you know, so I don't know, I'm sure all of you watch Crestu. If you watch me, I'm sure you do. Or if you don't, check him out. Good friend of the channel. For obvious reasons, right? He's doing challenges with me. He's taking on my challenge. I took on his island preservation. He's doing the competitive one-tile challenge with me, right? So good friend of the channel. So make sure you check him out if you haven't done so. You know, he was talking about, so he lives in the eastern Canada region, I think somewhere near the Montreal-ish area, I think. I don't know exactly, but anyway, they're working on doing some kind of like a high-speed rail, like a train, like a European, like, I don't know if it's going to be a bullet train type of thing, but, you know, a high-speed rail regardless. And evidently they're going to be, you know, destroying some farmland up near where he lives. They're just going to plow right through it, and basically, the rural community up there is just kind of up in arms a bit here, and rightfully so if you actually hear his story about it. But long story short, from a very brief moment, like I said, watch him and he'll give you more details. But they're basically just going to go right through cropland, and it's going to make life for farmers and anyone living in that area absolute hell, because there's not going to be any stops. They can't even utilize this train system that they're putting through. The closest stop is going to be like 2 hours away or something, so it's not even, you know, going to be near them. But it's going to cause them, you know, so much headache when it comes to... Okay, please don't run into stuff, please. Okay. It's going to cause them so much headache when it comes to, like, actually just traveling and maneuvering, because they're going to have to drive way out of their way. And, you know, obviously, you know, farming equipment, most farming equipment is pretty slow, right? Unless you're using a tractor, of course. But, you know, harvesters, things, they're not the fastest thing in the world, right? So it's going to extend their ability to do any kind of harvest or farm work by a significant number. So... it's a little sad. I totally get the reasoning for, you know, the high-speed rail stuff. Like, it's good for people that live in the city and things like that. But, you know, they're just kind of screwing over people that don't live in the city a little bit, right? And it's just making their lives more difficult. I gotta tell you, you know, I know a decent amount about farming, but, you know, after watching Clarkson's farm, you know, watching that, I mean, you say what you want about him. He has brought so much attention to the farming community that it's helped out the farming community so much. There is so many things wrong with the way the government treats farmers. Farmers don't make any money already, right? They make very little money. Seems like they might because of all the big equipment and things that they have if you have a big farm, but I mean, they just, if you haven't done so, what I'm sure you have, I recommend you watch it. Is he still brash and rude and everything else? Yes, of course. That's why I love Jeremy Clarkson, but I understand that it's not for everyone. I totally get that. But if you can get past that, I'm telling you, he's only helping the farming community more than harming it. I can tell you that much right now. It certainly opened my eyes even more than I already knew. I already knew it was bad because I told you, you know, my family had a small farm for a while, right? So I knew to an extent. But yeah, it's astonishing some of the stuff that he had to go through, and he's had to go through, I should say. Just the city people are just not. They're not nice to rural Americans and farmers and things like that. They just continue to take advantage of them. It's sad. Anyway. He's already nearly full again. I mean, that's a good thing. Like, I sound like I'm complaining about it. I'm not complaining about it. I can't believe it. Like, he's just... it seems like one strip, and he's pretty much full. He doesn't even make it down to the end of the strip, and he's almost full again. So what's likely going to happen here, gang, is I'm going to finish getting the straw up on this field. We're going to finish harvesting this field, finish getting the straw up on this field. We'll go and we'll harvest the other field. We personally will harvest the other field. And then we'll probably plow a field. I'm not quite sure if we'll do anything else but that, but excuse me, when we harvest that field, man, there's something stuck in my throat. When we harvest that field, I don't think I'm going to pick the straw up off of that today. I think we'll hold on to that for the next episode in August, because I don't think there's going to be... Well, actually, now that I say that, it does look like that other field's going to be ready. Come on, hurry up. Never mind. This field's going to be ready. So, I was going to say, I don't think there's going to be a ton for us to do, but really, we're going to have that, and then we're not really going to have a whole lot we can reseed. We can do canola next month. Oats. And that's pretty much it. And I've already mentioned that I don't really want to do a whole lot of the standard base game crops, at least early on here, for this series, because this map has, you know, other crops. So I'd like to do those, even if they're very similar. Like the ones we're doing right now, they're very similar to a wheat, oat, and barley type of a field, but still, I want to do other crops, right? So, yeah, I don't know if we'll put anything in. If we do, it would. I would think it would only be canola if we're going to do it. We wouldn't do the oat. I think personally, I'd like to wait though. But, you know, looking at the schedule here, if I do wait, there's not really a lot we're going to be able to put in here. We can do mustard in a little while. Millets passed, lentils passed, although I'd like to do those soon. Rye we can do again here soon. Spelt we can do again. Triticale, wheat, and vetch rye. So, yeah, there's some stuff we can do, but, you know, it's certainly not going to be everything, right? So, we might end up, you know, even though it might sound like a negative thing here, we might end up not seeding one of the fields. I don't know which one it'll be, but we might not do it in one of the fields. Just so we can kind of change it up here and add some of the other crops in. So, yeah. I really want to do, you know, some of the ones that are, you know, that you only have like 1 or 2 months to plant, like millet and lentil. I'd really like to do those. We have to wait like the whole year if we're going to do those, though. So it might be better fit. You know, maybe we get lucky enough to buy a field later on in the season, and then kind of, you know, do the millet or the lentil at that point with that field, maybe. I don't know. We'll think about it. We've got plenty of time to think about that, though. We're obviously not putting anything in the ground today. It's literally harvesting and baling, and then probably at least doing a little bit of plowing. We will need to put some lime down, I would think, in most of these fields. I know we put some down before, but, you know, the pH value says good, but there's probably still some pH that needs to be done. 43%, okay. Well, you know what we've got to do here, gang. I've rambled on for damn near 20... Well, it's going to be 23 minutes by the time I do this, so let's get going. We're going to get this field done. As I mentioned, we'll jump on over to the other field to get it harvested, and then get to plowing, etc. See what we get done here. Well, I just threw some bales into the chickens, so that was fun. I was trying to just, bunch them up as much as I could, and I got a little overboard there with the moving of the auto load, but the worker's doing some weird-ass things again. Go figure. We're going to take over for the worker, though. Now, couple things. I might end up letting a worker continue to do a lot of this field. The reason why I'm saying that is because if we're only going to do 2 episodes here in July, and that's the way that it's seeming like I'm going, the problem we're going to have is we're not going to get any of the contracts done. And really, I'd like to get some of those contracts done because that is some bonus money for us that we could desperately need. Well, part of it could help us pay for what we've already paid for, at least from a worker perspective, which is pretty significant. And then the other part, it's extra money for us, right? The part that, whatever it is that we don't have to pay back for the worker is extra money. So I think we're going to go that approach. I'm just going to try to give myself a little more room down here, hopefully, where the worker doesn't cause issues. I didn't even notice this before. What is this? I don't think I have noticed that last time. Let me look at this really quick. Maybe that's... if we can buy that, maybe that's something we should consider buying. I don't know. How do I... What is included with that? It's hard to tell. I don't think it's that. So is it field 26 then? It is field 26. Okay, well, we don't have enough money for that, but I don't know if it's actually anything. It doesn't pop up on the map of sorts as anything, but it looks like it's a horse stable, maybe? Maybe that's not horse. I don't know. But it doesn't really... I don't know. To me, it kind of looks like a horse stable, but at the same time, maybe it's not. It has to be a horse stable. It has to be. Has to be. It has to be. It is. It is. It's definitely a horse stable. But anyway, it's got like options, like it wants you to do stuff with it, but I don't think it is because there's nothing on the map for it. So, ooh. Of course. Why wouldn't they give us the one that's we're using in the competitive one-tile challenge? Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? I guess selecting it. Yeah, horse barn. There you go. 52,922. So basically, if you bought this land, you could get almost all the money back just by selling this. Well, we don't have money for it right now anyway, so it doesn't really matter, right? But yeah, so let's get the worker unloaded here. He's almost full, so once he gets full here, we'll get him unloaded one more time. And then we'll look at doing some contracts potentially and see if there's anything new out there from when we started this episode or not. I would suspect there's going to be a couple of new things, but... we'll probably got to do some touch-up work here. The worker always seems to just not do the best job of doing this touch-up work here, so always leaves bits everywhere, unfortunately. Alright, he's almost full. Don't go forward. I didn't say go forward, did I? Alright, so while that's unloading, let's see. What do we got here? What do we got? Multiple more harvesting contracts, but we're doing a harvest ourselves, so we can't really do that. Well, we can, but I don't want to borrow anything for that. There's baling contracts. Again, those are a little pricey. Well, I say pricey. They're going to take us a little long, and a little long to do. It'll take us a long time to do. Oof, that was a rough one. It'll take us a long time to do, and quite frankly, like I said, I was initially thinking maybe we would do 3, but we're going to kind of drop it down and do 2 episodes here in July. So, I think we'll do the Deadwood contract. For some reason, I can't even talk. I have not had a single thing to drink today. Sober as a bird. Anyone gets that reference? Alright, so we've got that, so we can definitely do that. There's some fertilizing contracts, which I think make a lot of sense. Those are, you know, quick, easy wins. There's one right next to our yard here, so that's a quick, easy win for us. It's not a whole lot of money, unfortunately, but it is an easy win. So there are some harvesting contracts. Again, maybe we should do a third episode here in July. Because there's such good money out here that it's a shame to not do some of these bigger ones that, you know, produce a little bit more money for us. Like that one. That would produce a decent amount of money. It's right near us. I think we will. I think I'm going to change my mind here. I think we're going to go back to saying we're going to do 3 episodes here in July. It's 13:49. It might be tough. We might be working into the night, even at 2 times speed. We might be working into the night when the 3rd episode starts. I don't know. Towards the end of the 3rd episode, I should say, not when it starts. We might be working into the night. I want to put the lines on for this because it's just, I know for a fact I'm going to get it wrong. I can't believe they put the other Mercedes-Benz out there. Okay, well, I still think it's going to be a no from this one. You know, if we wanted the higher engine, I mean, we're paying an absolute astronomical amount of money. It's 125 horsepower. It's not really, I mean, it is, but it's not really that much more than the John Deere that we have. 80, right? So it's not that much more. It's really not. Well, that's too bad. There's a nice olive harvester out here, too. We haven't done a whole lot of olives or grapes, for that matter. Some point soon we'll do some. Some point soon. This sounds a little crazy, but I was kind of hoping... I don't even think there's one on the map now that I say that, but I was kind of hoping I was going to get, like, olives or grapes just because we haven't done a whole lot of those. But I don't think there's even one on the map for grapes or olives. There's not. So it wouldn't have mattered. I guess there could have been at that time, but probably not. I mean, they're on vines, so probably not. All right, I think it's this. I think it's pretty much standard. I don't think there's anything major that's changing on this. This is the one I was talking about early on that has tram lines in it, right? Realistically, I don't know if we would have been able to... I don't think we would have been able to turn them off at that point, as a matter of fact, because... well, quite frankly, the tram lines were already there, and it was already germinated, right? So... So, we'll get into it. We'll get the rest of this done. It shouldn't take us much longer, and we'll definitely do a 3rd episode here in July. Might as well. There's no rush. There's no reason not to. I don't have that restriction on me for this series, so... yeah, let's get to it. All right, we are nearly done here, gang. Things are going well. Pretty decent yield, all things considered, which we kind of expected, right? We really worked to build that, or this field, I should say, up when we purchased it. Man, look how dirty this thing is. I know I said that in the last episode, but it's the truth. Look how dirty it is. We have got to get a power spray or a power wash of some sort. We really do. I don't mind the paint chipping and stuff. I think that gives it a little bit of character, but the dirt on this is astronomical right now. We need to we need to make some changes here to get that looking in a better spot. I just killed a ton of crop. I thought we had a little more room than that. I was literally looking at the wrong portion of the screen. Whoops. Alrighty. So we'll take a look here once we're done and see exactly how much we got off of each of these. We'll look at the silo to kind of figure that out because there's no rye and tritical in there or tritical in there. I don't know. I don't even know how it's pronounced. I always say it probably wrong, but I've heard people all pronounce it different ways, so I don't know if anybody really truly knows how it's supposed to be pronounced. Looks like this just might fill up the trailer here. Be pretty close. A John Deere is such a cool machine, though, man. I love that thing. Love it. It ended up not filling up the trailer, so we're good there. Okay, and that field is done. We've got to get the straw picked up, but we'll focus on doing that in the next episode. So we're going to drop this off, and then we're probably going to do one contract today, and then we'll save getting the straw up on this field, getting the other fields kind of plowed and prepped and everything, and then the remaining 2 contracts, whatever we decide to do for the next episode. So let's take this back. We'll take back the rye real quick. We'll drop that off, and then we'll do a contract. It'll more than likely be that Deadwood contract, I think. But you never know. You never know. Maybe we'll get in there and we see something else that we want to do. Maybe not. But it'll probably be the Deadwood. That'll pay for the worker that we used for literally this episode and the episode prior to this one. If we do that Deadwood contract. So then whatever the contracts are after that, it's just going to be pretty much pure profit. Yeah. I should say it should mostly pay for it. There might be a little bit that's not paid for. But most of the contracts should be paid for with that Deadwood contract. Or most of the contracts, most of the worker fees should be paid for with that Deadwood contract. Okay, and we'll bring the John Deere up here. So I think it was about a trailer and a half here of rye. So it should be somewhere around the 17,000. It might be 17,028 exactly, but it's somewhere in that range, I think, that we got for rye. The tritical, however you want to pronounce it. Not sure on that one. We did a couple of trailer loads there, so, but I don't remember exactly how much was there in the last one. Indy 500 today, the time that this video is released, it should be the Indy 500. Now, it's supposed to, in this area, it is supposed to pour down rain. So, I don't know if it's actually even going to happen, or if it does. How many laps they're going to get before they have to stop, and how many times it's going to start and stop. It could be a long race. But if you are an Indy 500 fan and you watch it, I'm an Indy 500 fan. I've been going for, I don't know, the last probably 10 years. I go every year. Let me know who you want to win, who you think's going to win, and who you want to win. I'd be interested to know. All right, so that is done. Okay, so we'll do a quick autosave here. We'll look at the contracts one more time here. Like I said, I'm kind of eyeing the Deadwood just because of how long this episode already is, and you guys know I like to keep my episodes around a certain time period, but lately they've been a lot longer than they normally would be. There's some more contracts that come out, more baling contracts. There's more stuff out here. There's a lot more stuff out here, but yeah, I'm still eyeing this Deadwood contract. So let's go ahead and do that. And we'll just jump there, which is pretty far away, actually. All right. I see 2 straight ahead. I know a lot of people have told me, there's 3 actually, that I should start from the very bottom and kind of move forward, which makes a lot of sense, but I mean, when you only have a couple trees to knock down, it's not that big of a deal. You'll find it. You'll find it. It's weird that I can sprint with the flashlight, but not the chainsaw. But I mean, it makes sense. You wouldn't want to sprint with the chainsaw in your hand, but unless the chain's off of it, of course. You might be asking, why would the chain be off of it? Well, you use them for, you know, haunted-like things. If you ever go to, like, a haunted house or a haunted event, there's a lot of guys out there with chainsaws, and they got the chains off, and they're sprinting at you, trying to scare you. Reminds me of, like, Halloween Horror Nights and stuff like that. But I like that kind of stuff. I know a lot of people don't, but I like that kind of stuff. I like horror stuff. Funny enough, for a brief period of time, I was young, really young. I worked at a haunted house. I'll have to tell you more stories about that when it gets closer to October or something like that. But yeah, I worked at a haunted house for a while. Well, it was actually a haunted trail, but, you know, they had haunted houses too. Okay, so that contract's done. So that is all we're going to be doing for today, gang. Turn that in. Puts us back to pretty much what we started with today, so that's a good thing. And, yeah, we'll leave the episode there. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you smash the like, subscribe button on the case you've yet to do so. Thanks to my members for all their continued support. It really does mean the world to me. If you want early access to videos like this one, there's a link down below where you can become a member as well. Yeah, check the second channel out. Check the Discord out. Everything's down below, as always. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. I'll see you next time.